There is a tradition observed across the church of the presentation of the bishop's cross. The bishop's cross is presented each convention by the diocesan bishop to a person whose outstanding service to the diocese has changed the course of history for the diocese for good, helping the diocese in a significant way to proclaim and live out the gospel of Jesus Christ. The bishop may bestow this cross to a person whose manner of sacrificial giving so exemplifies Christ-like love as to be set forth to the entire diocese as an example of the exemplary Christian leadership we seek. This year, it is my honor to present 2 bishop's crosses. Unfortunately, neither recipient can be with us today, so I will present their crosses to them personally at a later date. Thomas Sumter Tisdale is a true child of God and of the Diocese of South Carolina. His family has been part of this diocese and the Episcopal Church for generations. His father was an ordained priest of this diocese who served for decades and is buried at Holy Cross, Statesburg. While his roots run deep, so does his tremendous love and loyalty to the church and to the Episcopal Diocese of South Carolina. A lawyer and writer, Tom has shared his time and his immense talents in the name of service to this diocese of South Carolina for decades. He served as chancellor from 1970 to 1985 during the episcopates of Bishop Temple and Bishop Allison, before returning to this role after the schism in 2012 to serve under our provisional bishops, Bishop von Rosenberg and Bishop Adams, and through the election that brought me to your diocese in 2021. Tom served as a delegate to multiple general conventions of the Episcopal Church over the years, beginning in 1972 and most recently in 2015. He has also served on the Executive Council of the Episcopal Church and as chair of the Committee on Program, Budget, and Finance. Additionally, he has served on the Board of Trustees at various institutions of our diocese, including Porter Cowles School, Voorhees College, now University, and his alma mater, Sewanee, the University of the South. In addition to his legal skill, Tom is a gifted writer and publisher. In 2013, he wrote the play Truth in Cold Blood, which told the story of the 8th bishop of the Diocese of South Carolina, Bishop William Alexander Gary, who was shot in his own office by a priest who opposed the bishop's efforts to advance racial equity. As described on his publishing site, the play attempted to restore the memory of this tragedy to a place where it can, as all history strives to do, lead people to a better understanding of how to face the future, while at the same time confronting the past and present. In 2014, the play was brought to the stage at the historic Dock Street Theater here in Charleston. Most importantly, for the moment where we find ourselves today, he skillfully and loyally guided our diocese through the complicated legal maze we have journeyed through over the past 10 years, and we all owe him a debt of gratitude for where we are today, welcoming congregations back into our diocesan fold. From the first days when he helped loyal Episcopalians in this diocese reestablish themselves following the painful schism, through the days, weeks, and years of rebuilding that followed, he worked faithfully and tirelessly with a pure devotion to his beloved diocese and the Episcopal Church. I will forever be thankful for the many ways he welcomed me into this diocese and helped me begin my own episcopate. Due to his humble nature, there are no doubt countless ways Tom has helped the people of this diocese and communities throughout South Carolina that many will never know all of the exact details about. But I know that we stand here today, gathered at this growing table, in large part due to his love of this diocese and his heartfelt commitment to preserving its history and allowing it to continue along a path to true equality, just like Bishop Gary encouraged by his own example nearly 100 years ago. In May, Tom decided it was time for him to retire, and we are all saddened to see his long and faithful tenure come to an end. But he is a dedicated member at Grace Church Cathedral, and he has remained available to our legal team, to our chancellor, and to me. And for that, we are all thankful. I know that he will always be part of this diocese, and his love and faithful service to the Diocese of South Carolina is intricately woven into our complicated and beautiful history. And now I'd like to share a few reflections from Mr. Lonnie Hamilton at Calvary Church, Charleston, on Chancellor Tisdale. Mr. Hamilton's remarks are appropriately titled, Tom Tisdale, the Warrior. When the Episcopal Church schism occurred at the National Convention in Indianapolis, Indiana, during 2012 between the Lower South Carolina Diocese and the National Episcopal Church concerning the validity of the South Carolina delegation, when a parliamentarian ruled that South Carolina had a legal delegation, the Diocese of South Carolina returned home as full members of the Episcopal Church. After I returned home from the convention, I received 2 telephone calls from the opposition before being told that a lawsuit had been filed to break away from the national church by Bishop Lawrence's group. When Bishop Lawrence sued to leave the Episcopal Church, we had no bishop and no money. Since the national church was a partner to defending the lawsuit, Tom Tisdale, as chancellor for the Diocese of South Carolina, joined with the team with 815 2nd Avenue, New York City, as our banker. After the National Church became a participant, providing funds and leadership, I received a call from Tom Tisdale, Chancellor, stating, Lonnie, we will have to have help putting the diocese back together again. We met at the Mills House Hotel on Meeting Street, selected additional participants, and suggested the role each would play to make a successful reorganizational effort. 10 years have passed, the courts have ruled. We have a new bishop, and we've been successful, but not without Tom Tisdale. Sincerely, Lonnie Hamilton III. For the second Bishop's Cross, we turn to Mr. Lonnie Hamilton. At the General Convention of the Episcopal Church in 2012, Lonnie Hamilton III was one of only 2 deputies from the Diocese of South Carolina who remained for the entire gathering, even though 6 other members of the deputation and the diocesan bishop left following the passage of AO 49 authorizing same-sex unions. This type of courageous leadership was not new to Lonnie Hamilton. He's demonstrated this tenacity and strength in his convictions throughout his entire life. Born in 1927, he was raised in the Charleston area and began playing the saxophone at a young age after his grandfather gifted him one for Christmas. While a student at Burke High School, he toured with the Jenkins Orphanage Band and began to develop his lifelong love of music. He earned a scholarship to attend South Carolina State University to study music education and graduated in 1951. He served in the military for 2 years before beginning a career as an educator, serving as a band director while also continuing to play music as a secondary career. Mr. Hamilton's Diplomats was the house band for a very popular jazz nightclub he owned on Charleston's North Market Street, later moved to the 2nd floor of Henry's Restaurant in the 1970s through the early 1990s. As an educator, his legacy is undeniable. Mr. Hamilton worked for more than 2 decades in music education, serving as a band director at Sims High School for 2 years before returning to his hometown and taking the same position at Bonds Wilson High School in North Charleston, where he remained for 20 years. During his tenure, he reached more than 3,000 students. A committed mentor, he also sent 134 students to college under music scholarships. Lonnie Hamilton also has a history of public service, serving for more than 20 years as a Charleston County Council member, elected in 1970 as the first African American in the county's history to hold such office, and serving twice as Charleston County Council Chair. Mr. Hamilton could not be with us this weekend because he's away receiving another award for his lifetime of service and his gift of music. Just last month here in Charleston, he was recognized with a Tip of the Hat Award in Charleston's Jazz's Keeping Jazz Alive Gala. At General Convention in 2018, his sixth time serving as an alternate or deputy, he was recognized by House of Deputies President Gay Jennings with the House of Deputies Medal. In her presentation, President Jennings said of Mr. Hamilton, he is a gifted educator, a civil rights advocate, and an astonishing jazz saxophonist and clarinetist who has been also a faithful member of our church for more than 60 years. And through it all, he has never stopped working and praying and hoping that the people of his former diocese will find a way to come back together so that we all may be one. At that time, 4 years ago, she noted that Lonnie had been a faithful member of Calvary Episcopal Church for 57 years and has served on the vestry as choirmaster and in other leadership roles. He's also served the diocese on standing committee and diocesan council. Lonnie has been an ambassador for Calvary Episcopal Church, the Diocese of South Carolina, and the wider Episcopal Church. Throughout his life, he's been a champion for civil rights, bringing a voice to the marginalized, and for celebrating and sharing the love of music. He is a gift to this diocese and to all who have had the opportunity to meet him or learn from him. It will be my honor to present these two engraved crosses fashioned by Watts of London after the pectoral cross of Bishop William Alexander Gary, a martyr and saint of our diocese. Please join me in a round of applause for these two great saints of the Diocese of